So I wanted to take you guys through how I'm going to pack my VAD307 Roland drum set for a gig for the first time. I just want to show you what I'm working with real quick. So I got the full version, the TD-17 307, VAD307. But if you look at it, it's really a full kit. It's not like a small E-kit. And plus you got to factor in the fact that I'm taking the PM200 as well as a small little Marshall amp here. So what I came to realize is that the PM200 combined with this Marshall amp, combined with plugging it through the PA system, will give it that nice full sound where I don't have to wear in-ear monitors, and I can have that kind of rock and roll type of feel. No click track, nothing holding me back from the show. So I'm sure you could get away with just using the PM200 by itself and plugging that into the PA system, but combining it with this Marshall right over here, it just gives it that extra powerful grit. The Marshall doesn't have a low end to it at all. I would say it's mainly mids and trebles. So what I do with the Marshall is I put the bass all the way up and I cut everything else all the way down, and it just gives it like this raw, like rock drum sound. It doesn't overpower the PM200 though. So that's the plan. I want to take you guys through me packing this and all that good stuff. Also, I want to quickly mention I labeled everything, so hopefully the setup is a little bit more easy. As you can see here, these green little tape marks, like this one right here. I'm actually using frog tape, which is a tape that doesn't leave a residue at all, so it's not going to mess up your hardware. But you can see everything is lined up, so I taped everything and I put lines on it, so hopefully that when I break it down, set it up, I could just line everything back up and it will be good to go. Now, I've done this in the past, but this is probably the most meticulous job that I've done, where I did the cymbals, the toms, the snare, the seat, everything. I've done everything. So hopefully setup will be good. Okay, so I got everything into this case: snare, toms, cymbals, and module with the power supply. Just want to make sure there's no tension on any of these cables here, no unwanted tension. Let me see, just feeling around a little bit, making sure everything's not stretched, everything is kosher. Okay, I'm all cleared out. So from getting it all the way from setup to breakdown to in the car to in the carrying cases took 1 hour and 11 minutes. That's a lot of time, but hopefully setup won't take that long. We'll see what happens, but I think I got everything. Obviously I'm not gonna carry like some lights and fans and stuff. That will be at the place. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, 1 hour, 11 minutes total time, breakdown to in the cases to in the vehicle. Okay, so I got everything packed up in the car, unloaded, and then I had to set up at the venue. That took a little longer than I expected because of all the wires. So my whole thing is, did I like playing with electric set or did I not like playing with electric set? To me, it was a mixed bag. Ultimately, yes, I liked it because of the control of the sound, the effects I could do. For instance, one song had a tambourine. I could put a tambourine in there
Another song had a clap sound. I put the clap sound in there. Different songs had different feels with the snare drum. Some snare drums were more boomy, others were more tight. I had the ability to control that by a click of a button, so that was awesome. I really appreciated that. The only thing was the setup, the breakdown, and just being super meticulous about having electric drums. When I played out with acoustic drums, I could just basically take, let's say, a cymbal stand and place it off to the side, and when we were ready to play, you could just grab that cymbal stand, put it on stage, and grab the next item, the bass drum, put it on stage. But with this, you had to set everything up and then run the wires while everything is set up to the perfect specifications that you set out. So that was very cumbersome. I did not expect that. So you can't set up the module into the drums and then carry everything over. You have to set up the drums, set up the module, and then run the cables. So that's definitely something to consider. You're also playing around with more expensive gear. That's another thing to consider. At least in my case, these electric drums were more expensive than my old acoustic drums, which I don't have anymore. And to be honest, after this show, the next day I was on Facebook Marketplace looking for acoustic drums, because I was like, there's no way I could do this again, unless if I'm being paid, or I'm the first band where it's easy, the stage is already there and the drums are already there, and I don't have to worry about being in between, having a drummer take off their stuff, putting my stuff on. So there's just a lot of considerations. Maybe also if we were the last band, where I wouldn't have to worry about anyone coming on after us. That's another thing to consider. So there's pros and cons. I liked it, like I said, I liked my VAD307, but it's just difficult to set up. Another thing was, it just barely started to rain. Like, there was like a droplet or two. I was like, oh no, I got all these electronics. What if it just breaks out and there's a huge downpour? It would just ruin the drums, because we're outside. This is an outside venue, so that's something to consider as well. So in the near future, I don't think I'm going to do this again. I think I'm just going to leave this at home, unless if one of those specifications are met. Once again, we're the first band, or we're the last band, or we're the only band, and yeah, that's just something to consider if you're thinking about playing electric drums live. Your case might be different, because you might have a smaller kit, a plug and play kit. This was not a plug and play kit. In fact, if you have a good drummer friend, if you were to play this kit out, bring that friend with you so they could help. Also, another consideration for the VAD307 is all the hardware is double braced. So my hardware bag was over 200 pounds. I don't remember it being that heavy in the past. I could be wrong. Maybe it was the same, but it was just heavy. It was the worst part, and I had a friend there that even called me out on it. He's like, oh, the hardware bag is the worst. And I thought to myself, yeah, he was right. But I don't remember it being that heavy. So with my next set, or my next gig, I made sure to get single brace hardware, because, to be honest, who's carrying this stuff around? I am, or you are, the drummer. So single brace it is for me. It's going to be lighter, easier to transport, about the same to set up. So we'll see how that goes. Another thing about the show was, I heard myself perfectly through the Roland amp and the Marshall amp. I had no problems. I heard everybody more clearly than I did in practice, because in practice I play an acoustic set at a studio, so I heard everyone super clear. And a benefit that they'll talk about all the time is the ability to control the volume of an electric set. And that's true. You could turn all the way up, you could turn all the way down, whatever you like. You could fit the mix perfectly. We had some problems with the PA. Luckily I had my personal monitors there to boost the volume, but for some reason the PA was only working out of one speaker, I think stage right. I don't know what was going on there. I know my drums did end up going through the PA system, but they weren't as loud as I would have liked them. But there was no way for me to tell because A, I'm set back, and B, my PA monitor was also not working. I had a little wedge set up next to me that didn't work. So there's a lot of little things you got to think about. As far as setup for the show, I had no glitches with the system, which is funny because when I set it back up at my place, I was having glitches with the hi-hat, believe it or not. This is an aftermarket hi-hat. It's a lemon hi-hat, and the hi-hat was closed, and it was making open sounds, or it was open and making closed sounds. I don't remember. I just had to plug everything out, plug everything back in, and it was fixed. I don't know exactly what was happening there, but if that was happening at the show, I would have been absolutely screwed. But luckily, I had no glitches. The tape markings really helped. The setup was exactly how it was when I practiced alone, so thank goodness for that. And that's about it. Nothing else really to say, but if you're considering this, just take heed with everything I said, and yeah, the setup time for me was about 35 to 40 minutes just setting up the drums, and luckily we were the first band. And breakdown, I had to unplug everything, then one by one take like the rack tom and cymbal, bring it over all the way to the back, take the bass drum, bring it all the way to the back. And my band members were helpful with me carrying some of my stuff, but I was just so worried about the brains, the TD-17 and the chords, and as a drummer for so long I never had to deal with anything like that. So I wouldn't say it was a headache, it was more of a hassle. And I'm always super meticulous about grabbing everything and making sure I have everything by the end of the night, which I did, except I forgot one thing. I left it at the venue. It was my drum cover. I have a new drum cover where you cover your drum set, just in case. I thought to myself I would get there early, have everything set up, and I would just cover my drums, and when we're ready to play, I could just take off the covers and be good to go. But between the PA problems and me having to just sound check basically, I didn't use the drum cover and I left it on the table, so it was fully my mistake. Yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, let me know, but that was my experience taking these electric drums out. Like I said, I want to do it again, but just the hassle is just outweighs the benefits, I feel. So if you know any tips or tricks, maybe I'll try it again. Let me know down below, and we'll talk soon. Yeah, bye. Like, comment, and subscribe.